Coming up on today's Jags Now, a key player has been re-signed by the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll tell you who that is and why I think his role could increase for the 2026 NFL season. Plus, a little updated mock draft roundup, courtesy of ESPN, courtesy of The Athletic, excuse me. This is Jags Now. I am your host, Cullen Brown, and without any further ado, let's get into the re-signing. Quintin Morris has re-signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars, a one-year deal worth up to $3 million. Jordan Schultz adds the notes here that Morris is an ascending player who appeared in 14 games last season. Jacksonville values him for his blocking and special teams ability, while he also shows the capacity to contribute in the passing game. And this was one of those moves that, again, whether it's a move like this, whether it's a major trade, an extension, whatever the case may be, when Jacksonville makes a move, we're making a video here on the channel. You're not going to want to miss out. This is why you subscribe. Hit that sub button. We are trying to grow the community here at Jags Now. It'd be greatly appreciated. Getting more into Quintin Morris, and yeah, listen, plain and simple, he was a special teams contributor in large part because on the offensive side, he was mainly buried on the tight end depth chart behind guys like Johnny Mundt, behind guys like Hunter Long, and then obviously Brenton Strange. But I think Quintin Morris did show some ability towards the back half of the season that, again, the Jaguars are going to need to add to this, tight end room, for 2026. But Morris showed some signs in his 214 offensive snaps that he could be in line for a bigger role come next season under Liam Cohen's offense. And again, largely re-signed because of his special teams value, 253 snaps. He's somebody that, again, is a glue guy, somebody that was expected to be re-signed by Jacksonville. You honestly could be moving on from half your tight end room, but Quintin Morris is somebody that I think can contribute. Now, whether that's the draft or free agency, we all can understand that Brenton Strange, a contract extension candidate for Jacksonville, more than likely will get extended this offseason. I could see the Jaguars moving off of both Johnny Mundt and Hunter Long. Their cap hits just don't make sense for the value they kind of bring to this football team. And Quintin Morris is a young, ascending player. So I'm not saying by any means that this position is done in terms of it's settled, it's finalized, whatever. They do need to upgrade this position. And I'd like another vertical kind of threat, maybe kind of like a hybrid balanced kind of tight end that could go alongside Brenton Strange. But I do think Quintin Morris adds value as a tight end 3, potentially as a tight end 2 come next year under Liam Cohen. And the Jaguars had been previously interested at the NFL Combine visiting with tight ends. Tight end was the highest amount of visits that the Jaguars had interviewed with at the NFL Combine. 3 names to keep in mind. Eli Stowers, the tight end out of Vanderbilt, really nice vertical threat. Probably see him as more of a day 2 target if the Jacksonville Jaguars go that way, but Oscar Delp, Jack Injuries, some day 3 guys that also could be targets for Jacksonville. We could potentially look at some free agent targets that the Jaguars could look at in free agency, but I would expect the draft to be somewhere where Jacksonville looks to upgrade this position. But I want to hear from you guys as we're going to get into the mock draft portion of this video here in a second. What is your one-word reaction to the Jaguars re-signing Quintin Morris? For me, I think it's one word. Predictable. I think that Quintin Morris is not anything that, in terms of an offensive skill set, has shown his full true potential yet. But I also think because of his special teams value and the fact that there is going to be a lot of turnover at that position, as we've kind of previously talked about, this was a predictable move by Jacksonville. 1 year, $3 million. It's not going to kill you, and the Jaguars still have a lot of room to make improvements on their roster. Now, coming up, we are going to be doing some mock draft roundup courtesy of ESPN, Jordan Reid, and Dane Brugler of The Athletic. They have a couple corners going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, 2 different ones that we're going to discuss here on today's show. And without any further ado, let's start with ESPN's Jordan Reid, who does a really good job. He has the Jaguars in his latest mock draft. He did a little 2-round mock draft on ESPN. Had the Jaguars at pick number 56 overall, taking Julian Neal, the cornerback out of Arkansas. And I really like this player more as a 3rd-round pick, but let's hear what Jordan Reid had to say about Julian Neal out of Arkansas. He said, Montaric Brown could price himself out of Jacksonville's plans. Very well could be the case. So the Jaguars will likely need another outside corner. Neal is long, scheme-versatile corner who comes with pro-ready poise in his perimeter technique. And look, I do agree that Neal does have some upside. And when you kind of get into the day 2, of this NFL draft, obviously you got Jermod McCoy. You've got guys that could potentially go first round. Julian Neal, to me, doesn't really sniff the first round, in my opinion, in terms of like even a borderline guy. But as somebody on day 2, he's got some pros and cons that I think could translate to the next level. He is built like an NFL boundary corner. I think he's built like 6'2", 6'3", over 200 pounds. He is physical at the couch point, not afraid to mix it up with some of the biggest athletes at wide receiver in the SEC, not afraid to support in run defense as well. So that's something that, a lot of NFL coordinators are looking at the defensive level. Can you be supportive in the run game? And I think Julian Neal can execute that. His cons, he lacks elite long speed. and he's gotten toasted a couple times by shiftier, kind of shorter, smaller wide receivers. So that's something that you have to take into account. Can peek in the backfield a little too early. I think there have been times where he wants to get aggressive and try to jump routes, and he'll get beat on either double moves or play action. So that's got to be something that he works out and needs to clean up his press technique. I think overall it's fine, but I've seen too many times in press uh, Neal, kind of get aggressive and maybe get over a little handsy, which can get him in trouble. And especially when you're going up against elite long speed receivers, that could be something worth troubling at the next level. I'd prefer him in the third round. Still a good player in my opinion, but I think there's also just a lot of different options the Jacksonville Jaguars could go at number 56 overall. Defensive tackle comes to mind. Corner certainly is an option. Do they potentially go running back at that spot if they lose Travis Etienne? I don't know. But if the Jaguars are going to go corner, I'd rather them go a different direction. More specifically, I kind of agree with what Dane Brugler had at his pick at number 56 overall. Keith Abney II, the cornerback out of Arizona State, who, if you guys missed it, we've been kind of posting on my social media, so give me a follow at Cullen Brown NFL. But we've also posted here on the channel that Keith Abney was one of 9 Jaguars players that were or NFL prospects that had confirmed to meet with the Jaguars at the NFL Combine, and I'm a really big fan of Keith Abney. I think he's a guy that I've seen get some first-round buzz out of Arizona State. Really physical corner, not afraid to mix it up. It's kind of a little scheme versatility, although you could see him playing more in the slot. I do think he can translate to the outside, but was really productive last year for Arizona State. 44 tackles, tackle for loss, 14 pass breakups, 2 interceptions. Also had a couple of forced fumbles in there. I'm going to be honest. Keith Abney, if he's the pick at 56, I'm all for it. I think he's truly somebody that I see translating into a potential starting cornerback at the National Football League. I'm just not sure if he makes it that far. There's going to be some teams out of Jacksonville that could potentially looking at corner, and Keith Abney I've seen it go as high as back into the first round. So, yeah, I'm not really sure if Keith Abney, again, he's got that really good core strength as a former long skater when he was like 13 years old, so he's got the core strength. Again, it's got that versatility. Can be a little grabby, as a lot of these young corners can be, but I think he's got some skills that could translate to the next level. I think Keith Abney, if I had to pick between these two guys, would be my pick at number 56 overall. But I want to hear from you guys down below in the comment section. If you had to pick a corner, if Jacksonville is going corner at number 56 overall, let me know down below in the comment section. Type JN if you'd rather go Julian Neal, the corner out of Arkansas, or type KA if you're going with Keith Abney, the corner out of Arizona State. Folks, that is going to be the end of today's video. And again, a little news update. If the news happens, we're going to bring a video. Plus, wanted to talk a little mock draft with you guys. So appreciate everybody for sticking around. And if you've made it this far to the end of the video, you already know what time it is. It's a little Duval roll call. Made it to the end of the video. I need you guys to get down below and spam Duval. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. And as always, Jags fans, we'll see you on the next one.